respected office bearer of the Survey and Mapping Association, the delegates and guests from different industries and states, and my colleague from this, especially from this domain. This is my pleasure to be part and associate of this function. As you are aware that this this is a very important program, in fact, for the whole country. I have just change of guard of honor in our department, both at the secretary level and honorable minister. So while I was going through the presentation to both the head of the department, head of the ministry, it has been clearly laid down that although the funding and the fund flow, vis-a-vis, if you see other programs of the ministry, like Manrega and Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana, is very, very small. But as far as the impact and the outcome of the programs are concerned, it's really hitting the mass of the country and the need of the people who are really in need, and they are required to be taken care of. So then the point comes that what are the constants that we have to address, what are the programs, what are the activities which should be included in this program. Today actually initially I have been told that I should deliver the key address notes. So mentally I was prepared for that, but nevertheless when I reached the hall I have been told that it would be better if I could deliver the viewpoint of the department and ministry, and what are the focus and vision in the years to come. So now actually the change in the address of my, especially my regarding the program which I am dealing with, my focus will be initially to highlight the program, the background note, the achievements we have obtained so far across the states, and the roadmap, the vision and the objective in the future. What will be the focus of the department, ministry, and I must say it should be the focus of the industry as well. That I will, and with that we have recently restructured the erstwhile scheme National Land Record Modernization Program. So in brief, I would like to highlight some of the initiatives which we have taken, and as a consequence of that, we have restructured the activities and rationalized as far as rates and the implementation mechanism is concerned in the field, based on my experience in the state where I worked as a secretary in charge of the department for 3.5 years. And my primary mandate given by my Honorable CM was to implement this program as effectively as we can, irrespective of the fund requirement. So based on that, we have taken a number of initiatives, and we have received a number of requests from the state government. So that is the background. If you want anything else, it would be my pleasure to answer your queries and your questions which you would raise. You have all privileges. You can stop in between, or you can even ask, inquire at the end. This depends upon your convenience. So this, you may be aware that earlier 1986, there were two programs, CLR and Land Administration. They were merged in 7-8, and this scheme was restructured, and the computation of registration process has been added as a new component. And the total budget outlay which was projected was somewhere 5,656 crores, out of which the state government share was envisioned somewhere 3,098 crores. And there are two components, major two components, rather three components, where actually state governments were expected to contribute their share. That is survey, resurvey, and the modern record room, and of course the computation registration process. So this is in nutshell the snapshot of the program which we were executing since 2009 9/8 to 1/4/2016. At that time, point of time, why I am highlighting, because there is a basic fundamental difference which we perceive the program, the basic fundamental objective of the program, and the ingredient which are embedded in the guidelines and the cabinet approval which has been given at that point of time. The basic objective of this program was to achieve the conclusive titling. That's the last line. But most of the states and even the central governments, the government of India, we have forgotten the basic objective, and basically the NRMP means computation of the land records. That was the basic objective and the understanding of the program by the state governments, by the frontline functionaries. But the basic objective was the conclusive titling also. When I took over charge of this department in 2011 in the government of Bihar, actually I have been given understanding by my officers. I think some of the officers are also participating in this program, that the basic objective and purpose of this program is to computize the land records, computize the registration process, digitize the cadastral map or SEJRA as per the nomenclature in the different states. So then I have gone through the cabinet note and the guidelines approved by the government of India. The basic objective which was mentioned in the guideline and the cabinet note is that these are the activities we seek the approval of the cabinet to reach the conclusive titling. So then of course in our state actually we changed the strategy, that whatever the components which are required in order to achieve the conclusive titling, we have started to that. You see, recently actually we have invited, it's a very difficult and complex phenomena. Conclusive titling is a very difficult and complex phenomena, very difficult and complex process rather. Recently we have invited head of the registry of the UK, Mrs. Nikki Heathcote, and she had given a brilliant presentation actually. My basic question during presentation was what were the constraints you faced in your country while you implemented this process? Because I have been told that they have taken almost 140 years to achieve to the level of conclusive titling, and still it is a debatable subject in the country. So just to have a clear understanding of the subject, we especially requested government of UK, you kindly depute the concerned person so that we can sense the constraints, the basic problems which we would like to face while implementing this concept of the conclusive titling. So then actually there were rearranging of the component, and there is slightly shift in the thought process in the department. Initially, as I said, that the major focus was computerized. Now actually we presume that you might have already achieved the saturation level of the computerization of the textual data and spatial data and computation of the registration process, except very few states, 1 or 2 states, or some states which have some special problem which need to be addressed by some other departments. Like Assam has got connectivity problem, whereas UP and some of the states, they have got space and other problems. So they are the special need. Otherwise, most of the states, they have reached to the saturation level there. That is to say that they have already completed the computerization process of all three processes. So now we started giving focus and stress on the integration of all the three processes. Why integration? The the personnel and the staff and the officers who are associated with the revenue department, especially dealing with the land governance system, they must be aware that unless until you integrate all the three processes, computerization of registration process, computerization of textual data, digitization of cadastral map or SEJRA or revenue maps, and you introduce a system whereby you can achieve the updation of land records without any time lag. What is the meaning of without time lag? Means as soon as you sell off a parcel, a portion of a plot of your holding, the updation of land records should take automatically. There should be minimum interface, human interface between the process and the final outcome. But of course, there are certain judicial process which you have to complete. You have to give notice physically to the main stakeholders. When there is an objection, you have to hear, you have to collect the arguments, then based on the arguments, and of course natural justice, that you have give adequate opportunity to all the stakeholders to be heard, and then take a judicial decision. That's there. But unless until there is an objection to the transfer of the property, the other processes, the data flow from one place to another place should be automatic. There should not be any obstruction, whatever may be the nature. And as soon as the information is flowing from registration office to the revenue office should take cognizance of that and issue notice immediately without waiting to the person who is actually applying for the mutation, for the transfer, for the change of the record of the right. So that is the meaning of automatic flow of or transmission of the information from one office to another office. You may be also aware that there are the three departments or three directorates which are working independently and which are exclusively related to the maintenance or updation of the land records. One is the registration, which usually comes under the Ministry of Finance. In most of the states, there might be some exception. Then you have revenue department, and then there is a directorate within the revenue department. One is called revenue and other is called survey and settlement. So these three organizations, they work independently in most of the states, and when you complete the whole cycle, means visiting the office of registration and then finally reaching to the level of survey and settlement, your completion of updation of land records will not take place. So that is, and you see how difficult it is to take all these three departments or directorate on board. It's very difficult because I have worked all three departments. So my notings when I was working as a Secretary Revenue and Land Reform, that this should be done. At the same time, when I worked as a secretary in the other department, even my decision was obstructive. So this is natural because they have different objective. Like the registration department, the objective is to provide ease in the transaction of the property and to maximize the revenue collection. Whereas the objective and goals of the revenue and land reform department is to minimize the land disputes, although it's name of revenue department, but it's a misnomer. It's no more a revenue department. We have even proposed in our state that it should be land governance information system and land governance information management system. It's no more a revenue department. In the British period, it used to be a major revenue giver department. That's why the name Revenue and Land Reform Department. So the objective sometimes it's conflicting. So how to resolve that problem? Even you would be surprised that in government of Bihar, with the help of this industry, actually I was able to even complete the digitization process in all respect. So I told my Honorable CM that I am illustrating just that you are working in the states and what are the difficulties you might be facing. Sometimes you might be irritating. But it's a real fact that the different departments have got different objectives. It's a fact. We have to admit it. And how to resolve it? There are certain ways. So when I completed digitization of cadastral maps, so immediately I went to my Honorable CM stating that, sir, unless until we provide online services to the farmers on real-time basis, without any time lag, there is no use of digitization of cadastral map. We should put all the cadastral map on the website, online, so that any person from that estate can see his location of his parcel anywhere, sitting anywhere in the world. Then you cannot visualize that situation. That I send the note to the Home Ministry, the Registration Department, the concerned departments. Then you may not be aware, it's a shocking also for me, that DG of the state, DGP of the state, Director General of Police of the state said that, okay, whatever may be the utility of this program, but you cannot put all the data on the website because it's a security threat. It could be a security threat to the state. So I said, sir, what are you talking about? All the data, all the maps are available on the Google. And more so, anybody who is going to the office requesting for delivery of a revenue map, do you ask the nationality or the antecedent of that person? So what's the use of keeping them secret, not putting them on the website? So you would be wonder that they had vetoed the proposal. Then finally I requested Honorable CM and Chief Secretary that kindly hold a meeting and you resolve this issue. Then finally there is a settlement. There is a compromise from both sides. I give up the idea of the putting in the public domain website. They have given up the idea not to put on the website. So now it's a password protected phenomena in the state. So you see, in the single stroke, to what extent the utility has been reduced. So this kind of situation you have to work in the states. But of course, they are the states actually who have which has reasonably achieved the objective. And I must appreciate the efforts of the states and respect of the constraints you have. There are many agencies you are sitting across that whenever you capture any data for survey, resurvey component, actually you face a lot of problems taking clearance from the Ministry of Defense, Ministry of Civil Aviation. So that's the fact, but we have to work along that. And while stating the overall objective of this program, we can resolve those issues. But of course, there are security protocol, privacy protocol, both. So computerization of land records, you need not to be mentioned. It includes the digitization of cadastral map, which there actually our country is slightly lagging. It has not picked up because of the various reasons, the technicalities which are involved, and most of the states actually the cadastral maps are as old as 50 to 100 years. It's difficult to digitize them, but now actually most of the states they've started it in a very large scale, and I hope that by the end of December, I've been told by all the states that by the end of December we will achieve 100%. Otherwise, textual data in most of the states, except very few that the major states is J&K and one or two more states, we have completely computerized the textual data, and most of the states they have put on the website. So that's not a problem, and that's a great resources we have as on date, because now we are thinking that why we should not provide a interoperability and compatibility between this data and the data of the other departments. Other departments means the DET, the Aadhaar card, then the food and food security, Then you have Manrega, Indra, various programs. If we provide linkages, and of course, many of the services you can provide online. One example, actually, we have given a presentation to the Ministry of Agriculture and one presentation to the Ministry of Chemical and Fertilizer, that if you integrate the cadastral map and the textual data, and if you integrate the if you georeference the cadastral map, then you can use this data for the disaster management, especially providing subsidy and crop insurance to the farmers. It's a very easy phenomena, and we have experimented in 10 districts of the country. This year, they have taken on 10 districts of the country on pilot basis. Similarly, in the Chemical and Fertilizer Ministry, now they are thinking that in spite of giving subsidized fertilizer to the farmers, why we should not actually provide this fertilizer subsidy directly to the farmers based on the input of this data, that how much land he is owning, what is the acreage or area of land which is under cultivation. Based on the simple calculation, they can find out that what is the requirement of a particular farmers, and based on the requirements, they can give subsidy directly to the farmer's account, and the farmer has to pay the full cost of the fertilizer. Now, survey which is a very crucial for our country, especially actually most of the states except 5 states. Now 11 states, they have the 11 states have already started, but they are the 5 states which are in an advanced stage. Bihar, Gujarat, Odisha, Haryana, and part Rajasthan. So they have started in a big end. Gujarat, almost 80% work has been already completed, and they have transferred this data for some kind of service delivery to the common people. But they are the factors actually which are affecting, because now my request to the industry that kindly, why don't you provide, and I was actually discussing professor from IIT Kanpur, and I would like to request IIT Roorkee also, which is a known institution for the civil engineering surveying, that kindly you conduct IC activities, because most of the states, what I found that most of the states, they don't know what technology and which technology is suitable for their state. Because this adopting of a particular resurvey technology and methodology is depending upon various factors, which apart, what is the vegetative cover, what percentage is the forest cover, what is the terrain of the area. If it's undulated, it's a plain, or there's a hilly cover, or so and so forth. So it depends upon various factors, what methodology and what techniques you will adopt for the particular state. Because decision making is very difficult in a state, especially when you are introducing a new technology. You may not be aware that when we introduced this technology in our state, actually there were many questions in the assembly and the high courts. So it was very difficult to answer, because in the premature stage, you cannot assure a constitutional authority that it would be a successful project. So actually, based on your expertise in this domain, based on your experiences in different sector or different states, it's easier and rather more believable that kindly you conduct some workshop wherein you can invite most of the states where this work has not started, and tell them and clearly define that what technology based on condition in your state will be suitable for conducting resurvey. Because although it's true that some of the services you can deliver to the common person without having completed the resurvey function, but my belief is, because being a student of civil engineering, my belief is that unless until you complete the resurvey activities, it will be very difficult to reach to the end objective. It's very difficult. Why? Can anybody answer to it? Because I am combining my field experiences and my academic background. If anybody has got answer, kindly subsequently will illustrate to others. But my basic answer to this question is that most of the states, if you study the phenomena of survey resurvey, it was conducted between 1885 to 1925 or 1950, except revisional survey. There is a basic difference between revisional survey and survey. Revision survey is actually you are taking, it's like a zero-based budgeting and 10% increment of the previous budgeting. Survey resurvey means you forget previous data. You can take for reference and you start as a fresh. Where revision survey, you usually take the previous survey map as a base and you build on that. You do only partition every other things, but coordinates, the basic plot shape, polygon shape, and the outer boundary of the village, outer boundary of the districts, they remain unchanged. But they are the changes, because in 1885 and 1925, the survey was with the chain and tape and manual, or at the most plan table. They were not using the modern technology. And the secondly, the land subject was not so important as it is today. So basically, if you go to the field and really analyze the data, my analysis and perception is that, because while we started this survey resurvey in one of the districts of the Bihar, I stayed for 3-4 days. Some of my colleagues, they know. I stayed for 3 days in the villages and conducted survey resurvey in 2 villages myself. And I experienced that out of the 3,500 parcels in one village, about 2,500 parcels were not the true reflection of the record of right. Meaning thereby that about 70 to 80% parcels on the ground are not matching what is recorded on the textual data and spatial data. This is a remarkable difference. I can give you a very good example. When we were saying, there were 2 brothers. One was the mining engineer who was deputed in the Jaisalmer. He was working there since last 25 years. And another younger brother who was plowing the field, and he has given his share for plowing on the sharecropping pattern. So that younger brother actually, what he did, that he knew that my brother is not going to come here. So every year actually 1 or 2 centimeter, he was encroaching on the part of his brother. So over a period of 10 to 25 years, actually the total plot size was 20 decimal, 10 decimal was the share. So over a period of time, it has reduced to 8 decimal and 12 decimal. So while actually the aerial survey, they capture the data and it has come to 10, 8 and 12. And my Patwari and Amin, they went to the villages. You see, your 10 and 10 decimal area has been reduced to 8 to 12. So they were convincing that this technology is bakwas, you should not adopt it. And actually, really, I was also amazed actually when I saw the data that 70 and 80% data are not matching. Then I went to the village and I went to the village because it's a CM district. So it was difficult actually to allow such type of news to be spread across the states. So then I verified and I asked both the brothers. Now you see, and I asked the same Amin that you measure with your manual method, that is chain and tape, and I will also measure. So he said this is 8 and 12. So then I told that what is the wrong in the technology? Aerial survey has captured the data 8 and 12. It is 8 and 12 on the ground. But in the textual and spatial data, it is 10, 10. So what to do such type of situation? Unless until you survey and tell that poor fellow that your brother has taken the advantage of your position, that you are staying in Jaisalmer, about 15 or 2,000 kilometers from the place, and he's cultivating, he's the real cultivator, and because of the positional advantage, he has encroached about 2 decimal. So now unless until you correct it, so revenue authority has to take a decision. So we cannot talk of conclusive titling unless until we correct this type of problems in the field. Because what will happen when you will go to the field
And suppose there is a proposal for subsequent subdivision. Subsequent subdivision you will measure from a coordinate, and that coordinates will be filled up in the program. And if your original plot is wrong, it's a 12 decimal and 8 decimal, then obviously your coordinate will be also wrong. So wrong coordinate if you fill up, the result will be also wrong. So unless until you complete your survey, resurvey and get corrected such type of aberration or distortions, we will not reach to the ultimate goal. That is my perception. But of course, it's a very difficult, politically very sensitive process. You might be aware that one of the state has started in a very fanfare, very big enthusiasm. When they come across and some of the problems, political problems, they have abandoned it. So that is the problem we are facing in most of the states. So unless until we correct this, I think it will be difficult. It will be difficult to deliver any kind of services to the precision to the common citizen. So, and we asked the same question from our learned friend from UK also. It took about 40 to 50 years to correct this type of problems in the UK. Now actually this is my request that so far we have mentioned in our guideline only 3 processes, that is ETS, DGPS, aerial with ground truthing, HRSI with ground truthing. Now we have added 2 technology also, drone and LiDAR. That is going to be added very soon, because these are also technologies which are being used for the conducting of the survey resurvey. So in the new guideline actually, which we are in the process to frame in the light that this program has been restructured from National Land Record Modernization Program as a state sponsor, as a central sponsored scheme to central sector scheme. The new guideline will have all the 5 or 6 survey resurvey methodology which are modern in the sense that they can be used for creation of the land records data. Now computation of registration, it has picked up but it is a need of the states. The earlier support was 25% from central government and 75% from the state governments. Now it has become 100% from central government. But of course, computation of registration means in most of the states, except very few, that you type on the computer, you produce a deed which is nicely typed and nicely printed on the paper, but it's not web-based online registration. What was the actually basic objective which was initially conceptualized? That at the end of day, actually sitting from the state headquarters, you should be in a position. You should be in a position that you can tell that so many transactions have taken place in the state and so many changes in the record of right, and you should have the exact detail that this is a plot number, this is a khata number, or this is the village number. So this was, but of course actually we have achieved fairly good progress in this program as far as physical and financial progress are concerned, except 4 or 5 states actually. In even 11 states we have the integration between the textual data and integration of the registration, and at the same time actually web-based registration, that online you sitting you can actually you can even monitor your progress, your transactions in the registration department sitting from the from the state headquarters. Now actually of course we are thinking that we should provide the good connectivity and of course good working conditions in the SRO. It has been generally experienced that the working conditions in the SRO are not to the level that it should have been. So these are the 2 components which we are planning to add in the new program. There are actually other programs also, modern record room, which is equally important, training and capacity building. Now we have added adequate fund on under 2 activities. One is the training and capacity building, and you may be aware that we are in the process of constructing a center for excellence in Rajasthan near Neemrana, which is about 110 kilometers from the Delhi. We have been already allocated 150 acres of land, and we have already sanctioned, and principal approval has been already given. And I think in a year of 2 to 3, we will be in a position to have a good center for these activities. We have already started the activities on outsourced basis in Delhi, but by the time this is completed, this center is completed, we will shift these activities to that center, and that center will be forever conducting not only training but R&D activities also. That we don't have center like this new technology, LIDAR and this drone, so that they can, even some academic institutions also, they can conduct some R&D and we can come out some of the good results, and the standard protocols like codes, the scales, the technology, the software applications which could be uniform across the state. These last project management unit need not to be, but of course we have introduced a very good and robust system in the department that we are monitoring through MIS system. Every day we are monitoring. You can have the information right from state level to the village level. If you ask even online right now, sitting in this Noida, I can tell you that which village, which state, which district has computerized the land records. We have got the information that out of 640 villages, we have achieved the computation of land records in 5,85,000 till today. That's the progress we are monitoring. Even equally all components, survey, resurvey, the digitization, cadastral map, everything. You can online you can see. If you want to see the particular data, you need a password, but general information, if you want to take for any state, for any district, for any tehsil, you can have that. And we are monitoring on daily basis. Whatever information we are getting, if there is a progress, there is a slightly delay in executing some of the activities, we are reminding those states that you have, since you have, we are getting the feedback that what time they have updated the activity. So we are reminding those states that since your last 3 months you are not achieve anything, so kindly explain the reason why you are not moving ahead in this activity. So this kind of information now we have in place, and we are monitoring every day. The fund flow, utilization of fund flow, everything. Now we are, this I think you might be aware that that finance management information system, FMIS, is already implemented by the Ministry of Finance. I think October and onwards, the fund flow from the center to the agency will be automatic. It will not be having any manual interface. It is automatically transferred. As soon as they will utilize and upload the utilization, there will be a software. They have to fill up certain data, and the utilization is more than 60%. The fund automatically will be transferred to their account. And similar will be the case with the implementing agency and the state governments. Because this has become central sector scheme, the major difference, you may be aware that earlier it was a part of the budget of the state government. Now it's a grant. So it cannot go to the state exchequer. It cannot go to the consolidated fund of the state government. It will go to a separate account maintained by the project management unit. So the fund will directly flow from central government to the account of the project management unit. So that is a change which has taken place. So now actually the fund flow will be very smooth. This is actually the earlier program. Now it has become 100% because 1/4/2000, there are some problems because state government has already sanctioned project to the agencies, and the basic principle is that the fund which was spent on 1/4/2016 will be shared as in the ratio which is mentioned in the table, and after 1/4/2016 it will be 100% of central government. Guideline, you may be aware that guideline actually it is very clear that there will be a project management unit, there will be a governing council in the state governments. The governing councils have been given power to actually modify the guideline, modify the codes, the various inputs which are required to a particular state. And I think most of the states, they are conducting regularly these meetings, and they are associating the agencies also, because they are giving valuable inputs to the state government so that they can take a decision. This is of course not very important for us. But I must tell that this is a very important issue, because 23rd March 2016, actually we had a privilege that Honorable PM took a review meeting on e-Pragati Samiksha of this component. And 2-3 states actually they have raised this question, especially Assam and 1 or 2 states, that there is a problem of connectivity in their states. So we have taken up this issue with the service providers, especially the Airtel, the BSNL, the Vodafone, Idea, and actually they are making some plan that at least 2 Mbps speed the data flow should be there. So they have identified the pockets actually in some of the problem area, shadow areas, and they are working on this. And I hope that by the end of, I've been told by the Department of Telecommunication that by the end of December they will resolve this problem. Because of this, actually, I must tell that I was observer in the Kaziranga, the Bokaghat constituency of the Assam. Actually, I went to the interior area, and to my surprise, actually, the 3G and 4G services was working everywhere. So I asked the principal secretary and secretary that you have raised this issue in the e-Samiksha, but this you are actually this connectivity is good. I did not find actually any connectivity problem in your state. So they say that especially the Upper Valley, Assam, and some of the hill area, they have got its problem, and it's difficult to connect those areas. So this will be resolved. You need not to worry. And many of the agencies, they are also telling us that some of the states they are facing, because unless until you have connectivity, there is no meaning of computerization of the process and resurvey and putting on them website. Registration, of course, actually you may not be involved, but it's a very important component now. So registration we will be taking up in a very large scale. It has been a neglected component so far, because first the contribution was 25%, it's a separate department in the state governments. But now actually we are taking a lot of initiatives so that it should move in a very fast pace. This is a very important component of department. Actually, this takes care of the technical aspect. This core technical advisory group headed by the Secretary of the State, Secretary of the Department, and Joint Secretary, myself as a member secretary of this this committee. This is a high-powered committee. This decides the rates and rationalize the rates and other things. So recently, you might be aware that digitization of cadastral map, the rates of the digitization cadastral map has been raised from 1,000 per map sheet to 1,500, and the FMB 11 rupees per FMB to 33 FMB. Now resurvey, which is also revised, I think 5 days back, and will be very soon on the website. This is, of course, a uniform. Actually, it's a good for the country that we have uniformly adopted the software, the scales, the error percentage, everything. So it has been uniformized now throughout the country. Actually, you cannot have freedom that you can print the map or you can generate the map other than 1:4,000. Earlier, it was different in different states. Now it is uniform across the country so that we can provide the interconnectivity between data of the different states. This is a very good, actually, my example. I will explain this and I will conclude. This is a very good platform provided by the government of Karnataka. It's a Kaveri is a registration process, software application, and the Bhumi is the land software application. They have provided connectivity, and in the last month, that is 15 and 16 July, we have a 2-day conference in the Bangalore. All the principal secretary, all the IGRs, all the settlement commissioners. And we have practically shown them one of the tehsils actually, where it's a very smooth that the person comes in the registration office, SRO office. He has been given a, either through mail or through SMS, he has been given a waiting number and time, exact time slot. So it's a beautiful actually that space is nicely placed. They have put bench and kursis and chairs. The person actually, if he finds that the number is 5, his is 7, he has come 2 or 3 minutes or 5 minutes ahead. He will sit, and as his turn comes, he will go to the SR office. There is a pre-traced map. He will put his application. The SRO will execute the registration deed within 5 to 10 minutes. And the information, it will generate XML file, and the information immediately transmit to the revenue office. So before the person takes the registration deed and reaches to the tehsil office, which is very near, which is beside, reaches the tehsil office, the notices for the mutation. The mutation process has already started. So as soon as he will reach from this desk to that desk, he will receive that mutation notice. And transaction on that particular parcel is blocked for that statutory period. Suppose there is a statutory period in the Mutation Act that you cannot actually take a decision before 15 days. So 15 days, suppose there is no objection, then allow the mutation. Suppose there is an objection, then get it inquired and final that decision. Suppose he allows it after actually getting it inquired. So final decision will be uploaded and that transaction on that particular land of that area is blocked. You cannot have another transaction. So that is the important area. So they have completely seamless integration between two departments, and both the processes, the registration and mutation, takes place simultaneously. There is no lagging, time lagging, so to say. And after that statutory period, whatever may be, 18 or 15 days, depending upon the objection, no objection, that mutation is allowed, and there is no human or manual interface. That updation of the textual data, updation of the spatial data is automatic. That map is partition, the textual data is changed from X to X1 and X2. So this is a very fantastic application of the computation of land records and computation of registration. I think there are many things, but need not to say. I will slightly tell you the progress. You can see this is the computation of registration process. Green. Red is the yellow where the process has been started but not completed. The green, you see, major portion of the country is already computerized. Then computation of registration process. That is also fairly good, except J&K and some of the northern eastern. Most of the states have completed. Integration of land records and registration process. Of course, it's a slightly difficult process, but most of the southern states and of course Haryana and Himachal Pradesh, they have completed. And yellow, of course, this is actually my 1 month old progress. Some of the red area like Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh and Jharkhand and Odisha, they have already started, so they are about to complete. This is difficult. Integration of spatial and textual data. So far, 11 states only. So I want that by the end of March 2017, all the 36 UTs and states should complete it. Digitally signed and verified means you don't have at all human interface. You provide ROR online, you digitally sign it and deliver to the person. Now we have added a new phenomena, that DigiLocker. You send your actually ROR digitally signed in the DigiLocker. So we already started in all the states. This is of course online ROR, anywhere, anytime basis. 4 states. There are other 11 to 12 states which would be completing it within next 3 to 4 months. Yellow one. The survey, of course, I told that this is difficult, but now we have started in a big way. Bihar, Gujarat, Odisha, Haryana, they have about to progress in a very fast pace, but they have progressed significantly, but other states, they have just started, yellow one. Red one actually yet to start. So now our encouragement will be that yellow should complete and red should start. That is all. Any question? Thank you very much. Listening patiently. Either you have not understood anything or you have understood everything. It's very difficult because still I am learning after spending about 4 years in engineering and 20 out of 26, 29 years, 19, 20 years in this field. Okay, thank you. Yes.
The rate which is finalized by the government department is about 19,000 to 21,000 per square kilometer. How do you justify this rate to carry out a physical survey, including the DGPS control points, establishment of the monuments, and carrying out all types of surveys and generating each parcel maps and delivering it to the owners and getting the signature from them saying that this is all right. So how do you justify that?
Your question is very important and I do agree fully. It is a past story now. New rate I will not announce, but it has been already approved. In a day or two you will find in the website, which is significantly raised from the present level. It is my work of 1 year that all the components, the rates have been revised, if not twice, then at least 75-80% more. This at least 100% increase. Because I handled this subject in the field, so I know that there is a need to revise the rate. Now onwards, that rates have been linked to the CPI. So no need to go to any authority. Automatically it will be revised every year. 0.025. Physical maps means a new survey, resurvey you are talking about? Sir, if I understand your question fully, then is it a question that there are different agencies which are actually conducting survey? First part. Second part, that the person who is holding the land and the texture and spatial data, they are matching. Is that your question, sir? So first part I would like to answer, sir. First, that there are many agencies like Survey of India, Defense, then you have other agencies also, sir. The basic objective is different, sir. I will tell you why. When you are driving from here to Delhi, you put your GPS and everything, so you are bothering about only way. Which way, 2.5 centimeter this side or 2.5 centimeter of this side highway, it does not make any difference. But when you are talking about a land parcel, if it is your land parcel, if I tell that it is 5 centimeter this side and 5 centimeter this side, I think you will make a lot of hue and cry. So that's the difference. Actually, in our case, the subject which we are talking about, that is the land parcel in case of agriculture, rural land. So its accuracy is very important. Unless until you have near to the 100% accurate, the farmers will not accept your data. And the process which we have, the guidelines which we have prescribed, the process which we have adopted, because we are not in a British period, it has to be vetted by the farmers. Unless until they vet your data, it is not acceptable to the government. Sir. Sir. Sir, you are.
I know your job is very difficult. You have to go through that testing where there is no light, no electricity.
Sir, your concern is, sir, your concern is valid. I can tell you, when I joined as a secretary in charge of the department in 2011, I went Gujarat, I went Karnataka, I studied Haryana, HRSI, aerial survey, ground method, everything. I must confess that data of any technology is near to the accurate. But your technology will not capture the correctional values of the human attitude behavior. If you are encroaching the land of others, how your aerial photography will address that problem? That has to be addressed by some manual mechanism. So that's the problem. Actually, I mean, they are the agencies. I can see. You can ask from that invariably their data is, I must say, 100% accurate. Whatever on the ground is being captured through the different technology. There is no error. Marginal, significantly, there is no error. There is no deviation. But as far as actual record of right is concerned, and actually the possession of the parcel or a polygon is concerned, there is a lot of variation. So that problem has to be addressed, because why I am telling it, you cannot allow a weak person to be exploited by the strong person. Because this is a human tendency. Wherever actually we find an opportunity, you will exploit it. So that's, and land is very precious nowadays. Actually, especially where you find some stretch of government land, invariably you will encroach. Even as a, I can tell you that we have been allotted 50 acres in the Nimrana. When we went there and measured, even government, 3-4 government departments, they have encroached our land. So it's a natural human behavior. You can't help yourself. Only method that you go on the field, that this is a correct, that this basic framework is ready. So on the ground verification, you will require less time. That's the only advantage you will get out of this technology. These technologies are good. There's no, but once you complete the resurvey, and you tell the farmers that these are your ridges, these are your boundaries, subsequently they will not allow others to encroach. Thank you. Yes. Sir, your question is basically management of the fund flow from Government of India to the agency, the actual agency who is which is executing the project. So there is a detailed guideline which have been prescribed to the Ministry of Finance, and it is mandatory from 1st October onwards. It's a mandatory. It's not optional. That fund flows should take automatically from central government to the agency. Now, central government has prescribed a guideline from fund flow from central government to the state government. Now, state governments have to prescribe their guideline and rules, fund flow from central government's, state government's account, PMU account to the agency. But we are asking them, we are asking the compliance. Unless until they comply, we will not release the fund. So, thank you very much. I think I have taken much of your time. So thank you very much. It's a very interesting interaction.